brought to you by Chase. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby joining us right now on the program. This man
It's
is a walking bucket. It is Jamal Crawford. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Man, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it. I'm one of the biggest fans of the show.
It means a lot to us. We have Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. Seems like there's been a momentum swing as the series went to Milwaukee. What do you expect tonight in Game 4?
I expect Milwaukee to win. I really do. I think the home team has won every single game, and that's how I see it playing out. I see it going 7, and I think Phoenix wins in the end.
So, JC, I love you, brother. Thank you for joining the show. It's a family affair, as I sung. And you played with CP. You balled with Book. What do you see with these Phoenix Suns, and how do you feel they're going to close it out?
Well, I think they have 2 closers. You know what I mean? Usually you have 1 closer if you're lucky. They have 2 closers, and they know how to get out each other's way while still being effective. I think they're both dogs. I think they both have respect for each other, and I think they're focused. I think they're hungry and humble. They know what's at stake, and I think they're going to get it done in the series.
Now, Team USA is preparing for the Tokyo Olympics. They beat Argentina, but they previously lost to Australia and Nigeria. What do you think about the state of Team USA right now?
I think it was a shocker for everyone, but I think they'll figure it out. There's too much talent. You have the great Popovich over there, and I feel like you have the best player in the world, Kevin Durant. So with all those things, when they come into play, at the end of the day, I still see them winning the gold.
JC, I've been extremely outspoken about the fact that you should still be in the league. The last time we saw you, you were scoring 50, literally, for the Suns. You also played for Doc Rivers, who coaches Ben Simmons, who clearly struggles offensively, in particular outside of the paint. Would you trade Ben Simmons at this point of his career? And why do you think he has that hesitancy to shoot outside of the paint?
Well, like you told me, it's a thinking man's game. You told me that a long time ago. And sometimes that can work against you. I think Ben is thinking a little bit too much about his jumper and his shot instead of just focusing on what he does well. If he stays away from what he doesn't do well and kind of, protects himself within that, I think he'll be fine. But push come to shove, he still has to work on getting through that free throw block and getting through the paint block, because that's going to haunt him the rest of his career if he doesn't nip it in the bud now.
One thing you can always do is get yourself to your spot and get a mid-range jump shot. We see CP doing it in the finals. We saw DeMar DeRozan do it for his whole career. You said a mid-range shot is like a jab in boxing. What do you mean by that?
It keeps you honest. I mean, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I've always seen the best scorers in the world, Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, LeBron James. They live in the mid-range, and I think it keeps you effective. You can control the game from the mid-range area. People don't always think it's going to be a 3 or a layup. That's predictable. I think being unpredictable and mixing it up gives you the best chance. And at the end of the day, they're not going to call foul when you go in there, and you don't want to live and die by a 3-pointer. That mid-range is the jab that's going to keep you honest throughout the whole game.
And I know Jamal Crawford has a baby face with a dope part in his head, but he's the only guy in the history of the NBA to score 50-plus points for 4 teams. And he's also had back-to-back 50-point games this year in his summer league. So, Jamal, tell us why you're still playing at such a high level, and do you have hopes to still play in the NBA?
Well, love of the game. I thank you guys for always holding me down, always keep my name ringing, always get those texts from everybody that you guys have mentioned me. For me, it's just love of the game. I used to dream about being in this position. I dreamed about going to Michigan because Jay Rose and the Fab Five went there. I dreamed about being in the NBA. So for me, I'm going to play as long as I can, as long as I'm at a high level. When I'm not, I'll be the first one to stop playing. But for now, basketball is something I love. It comes natural to me. And I would love to play in the NBA again in the right situation, but I'm not just waiting by the phone. So it's just love of the game. If that opportunity comes, obviously I'll be ready.
So Jalen mentioned it, but you have 2 straight 50-point games in your Seattle Pro-Am League. I love the Drew League. I love Dykeman. I love Rucker. I love that kind of stuff. What has the experience been like for you this summer in Seattle?
It's been unbelievable because we didn't get a chance to play last year because of COVID, obviously. And the year before that, I was getting right and taking my time, so I didn't get a chance to play. So 2 years, they was waiting for me to play, and I had to make sure I sent a message. The last time people saw me, I got hurt. I got hurt on the court, and I didn't want to let that be a last impression. So for me, I said, I'm going to send a message this weekend right from the start.
So players like Jamal and KD, I call them barnstormers, Jacoby. They'll fly into your town, go put up 50 on your court, and leave and have your own fans booing you. I got to ask you a really important question that we argue about on this show. In those type of runs, do you like ones and twos or twos and threes when you playing street ball?
We could do it however they want to do it, Jay. If they want to have chain nets as the basket, if they want to go outside, I was outside playing and the court was sloped up, so I had to figure that out while playing. Whatever they want to do, every circumstance I've seen. So whatever they want to do, we could do it.
So one thing that I always get terrified by are the double rims. When I go to the park outside and I see the double rims with the chain net, I know I'm not hitting any jump shots. Are you intimidated by double rims?
I used to be, but then I figured out it ain't the double rims. When I'm outside, it's the wind. The wind's the hardest defense I've ever seen because I can't judge it. Yeah, I can figure out the double rims at some point, but that wind, you never know how it's going to, hit when you let the ball go.
Hey, JC, I want to make sure Team USA get a gold medal. They dropped their first 2 exhibition games. They got it together in the previous game. Why do you think they struggled so far?
I think part of it, I watched the first game, is defensively. I think they're giving up a lot of open shots. I think they could be more aggressive on defense. And I think offensively, I would love to see, somebody kind of, if we're going to play through KD or Dame or whoever it's going to be, let's take the lead. And I think it makes everybody else fall in line and puts them in their role a little bit easier than all of them kind of like, no, you shoot it. No, you shoot it. I think it gives more continuity when we know exactly where we're pointing the ball.
It's a really good point. Jamal, thank you so much for joining us on Jalen and Jacoby. Really appreciate the time.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks a lot, family.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
No doubt.
We'll be back right after this. I love the Pistons, but I love you, and you love the Pistons. And now there are reports that teams, specifically the Rockets, are aggressively trying to trade for the number 1 pick. If the Pistons trade this pick, I will never, ever, 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 ever not think about it. This is a no-brainer. Cade Cunningham, number 1 pick. You cannot trade a no-brainer number 1 pick. Jalen, why would they even be considering this?
I already see the big stage. The first draft held on ABC. I'm on the set, suited and booted, next to Jay Will, next to Maria Taylor, next to Woj. The Detroit Pistons have not drafted number 1 since the early 70s. That was Bob Lanier, the big dauber. They haven't taken a guard number 1 since 1967, and that was my biological father, Jimmy Walker. You're not going to trade this pick because you don't get this type of player very often, clearly, in particular, since he's the undisputed number 1 overall player.
He is a tailor-made prospect for today's NBA. He is as close to a can't miss as you get. The Pistons should not even be picking up the phone. They should not even be picking up the phone.
Yeah,
look at him. Look at him in that Pistons uniform.
About. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And here's the thing. Not only should we not be considering trading the pick, don't even play no games. Don't work out other people. Don't speculate that you're considering. Use that time talking to his family. Use that time talking to his high school coach. Use that time ingratiating him to the city, because you saw Ben Wallace up there. He'll let you know what it's like to be a Detroit Piston player and how we put on for our squad.
You know what? I can't wait. I can't wait till Cade Cunningham is at the Jalen Rose Leaders in the show. But we start the show with tonight's big deciding game 4 in the NBA Finals between the Bucks and the Suns. And the story is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Jalen Rose, 42 in Game 2, 41 in Game 3. He's been absolutely dominant. What can the Suns do to stop or slow down?
He was gone
Giannis.
knee deep once you did the freak with me.
I don't know if they're going to be able to stop Giannis. See, the one thing about being a primary three-point shooting team, you're going to have your hot and cold days. If he continues to drive the basketball